wanted to cover some points in veterinary pharmacy law and some changes that are occurring and some upgrades. And so at the end of the session, I'll be happy to also take questions. So again, one of the key issues we have to remember is that the FDA is responsible for food safety, and also they're responsible for regulating the manufacture and distribution of drugs and foods. And the FDA division is for animals is called the Center of Veterinary Medicine, and we have got a new director, Dr. Stephen Solomon, a very dedicated group of veterinarians working to make quality control products for our pets and also for food animals. So drugs that are approved are manufactured under good manufacturing practices, which means they have quality control. They start with a quality product all the way from the powder through the final production. And so this is part of the Center of Veterinary Medicine's job to make sure that our drugs for our animals are safe. And then as far as the USDA, in human medicine, the FDA governs vaccines, but in veterinary medicine, the USDA governs vaccines. And they also will have a number on them to certify that they are an approved vaccine. So again, throughout this presentation, I'll mention if you're ordering on the internet, you need to have to kind of look at the product and make sure it's an approved product, it's a quality control product. So that is extremely important to maintain the integrity of our products. And the EPA governs the pesticides, and we use a lot of those in animals, and also they may be hazardous, so we look at the labeling and make sure that they are handled properly by the owners and that they are discarded properly. And then we look at food animal versus companion animal. What is a food animal? A food animal is when you have a legal intent for a person to eat that particular animal. So we have a group of animals such as cows, pigs, goats, chickens, fish, eggs, and the fish eggs, and some rabbits, and now we have bees that are all in the category of something that we consume as humans. And then the companion animals are all the other animals. Sometimes it gets to be very confusing because pot-bellied pigs may be bred as a food animal, but many times now they're used as a pet. So when you're administering drugs and labeling drugs, you want to make sure that for a food animal, you have a withdrawal time on the label, but that, you know, if it is a pot-bellied pig and you're sending it home as a pet, then you need to have a label that says not for food animals. So that's one of the few exceptions. Sometimes rabbits are pets and sometimes they're food. So it's basically what the intended use is. That's a legal definition. If we look at the quality control of products, we can go into the FDA website for animals, and we have to make sure that we are buying a quality product. Any approved product that's a trade name will have an NADA number appear on the label. If it's a generic, it will have an ANADA number on the label. That's either a new animal drug application or a generic animal drug application. If the bottle does not have that information, then it's not an approved product. And there are many products on the internet that are counterfeit, so you have to be very cautious and talk to the company that's selling these products to make sure that you are buying the quality product that you want. Each one of these drugs that are labeled with an NADA or ANADA will have a Freedom of Information PDF that you can actually look at that, and it will talk about drug interactions. It will do original studies that have been done as far as review. And so that's a really good information site if you're looking for information about a product. And we also want to remember that compounded products are not generic products. Compounded products are products that are either made from a formulation such as a tablet that's been crushed and changed into a suspension, or it's a product that's been made from a chemical, so that does not have the same safety studies and approval processes that you have from a generic drug. So again, from the searchable website, you can look at the animal drug at the FDA to get that information. So what makes a drug prescription or over-the-counter? A prescription drug is a drug that the FDA has deemed not to be able to be safely handled by a consumer without going through a veterinarian. So anything that is a prescription, a veterinarian has to take that product and they have to safely label it so that the consumer can use that product on their animal safely. An over-the-counter product for an animal basically will be something that the FDA has deemed that that's already labeled properly, it's safe, and that the owner can actually administer that without the supervision of a veterinarian.